Hi, I'm Johan van der Hoven, and I'm happy to introduce Kendrion to you. We are joined by CEO Joep van Beurden and CFO Jeroen Hemmen. Gentlemen, can you please describe how investors should look at Kendrion?
Let me first talk a bit about Kendrion itself. We design, develop, produce and sell electromagnetic actuators. Now, an actuator consists of some software and electronics. It has an electromagnet and then a mechanical device. Give you an example, a lock, for instance, we make locks for washing machines, is such an example where a sensor would say, well, the machine now needs to be locked. The electromagnet is pulling on a mechanical device and it keeps the door locked. And there are many other examples of these actuators. They are basically present in everything that we use every day. We are a global niche leader, and we have identified and invested in those niches that we feel can grow substantially. And this is automotive, passenger cars and commercial vehicles, industrial brakes, and also in China as a region, which in total is about 80% of Kendrion's revenue. Then the rest of the 20% is in industrial actuators and controls. We have about 30 different segments here, different niches. And there we focus more on profitability, although in some of these niches, as I mentioned, in all segments, we are a leader. We have around 2,500 employees. We have around 20 production locations around the world. In 2019, our revenue was around €500 million, and we're active in Europe, the US, and China, and in India.
2020 has been a bit strange year. What are the highlights for Kendrion so far this year?
Yeah, yes, Johan. So first thing to note is indeed it's been a strange year, and in many ways, both personally and business-wise, for lots of us, difficult. So talk about highlights is maybe the wrong word, but there certainly are some. And the first I would mention for Kendrion is effectively our response to the pandemic and in personal health and safety and well-being. I mentioned earlier we are active in China. In China, the pandemic started in February. And what we did is we tried to learn and implement the measures that we took successfully there in all of our locations around the globe. And that has worked really well. Clearly, some of our employees have been affected by the pandemic. And with 2,500 employees around the world, that's unavoidable. But for instance, we've had no secondary infections. So in no instance has one Kendrion employee infected another. And that is because we were early and we were quite disciplined around implementing measures to protect health and safety. So that is clearly highlight number one. Highlight number two on the business side has been the global response. And we like to think of ourselves, we have defined our culture as culture is mentioned in the Kendrion way, and that Kendrion way means we are a global team of actuator specialists. And that global team spirit has really helped us in terms of making sure that on the one hand, when in Q2, in April and in May, revenue dropped off and many of our large automotive customers shut down completely, that we deployed all measures available to us, both Kurzarbeit, voluntary pay cuts, making sure that we were dealing with the revenue headwinds effectively and preserving cash and cash flow as much as we could. And that has resulted, and Jeroen and I are very proud of that, in Q2, where it was, from a revenue perspective, extremely difficult on the back of all the lockdowns, but we managed to stay profitable and we managed to stay cash flow positive. So I think that was clearly a highlight. And final point to note is we kept open, we kept all our production facilities ready to go. When customers needed products, we could ship them. We used Kurzarbeit and short-term work as much as we could, but we've also continued to develop our products. We've also continued to invest in R&D as much as we possibly could, so that we did not really mortgage our future opportunities. And if you look, for instance, at the projects we have with our customers, the nominations we are winning in automotive and in other segments, you could see that effectively the impact of the pandemic on the long term of Kendrion is really limited. So despite all the difficulties, our future looks bright.
When indeed looking longer term, what are the important trends in automotive for Kendrion in the next few years?
Yes, automotive is very, I said we are a global niche leader. Automotive, very important segment. It's around 50% of our global revenue. And automotive is also one of the most exciting opportunities in our view, certainly for the medium to long term. And this is all predicated on what is sometimes abbreviated as the ACES, which is the brave new world of autonomous, connected, electrified, and shared vehicles. Everything that's ongoing around hybridization, electrification, driver's assist, lane change assist, and these types of technologies. And the reason this is such an opportunity for us is that if you think about, what happens in all sorts of equipment, but certainly also in automotive, is you basically have a sensor. So you're sensing, for instance, in a camera that a car is 100 yards in front of you. There is then a microprocessor that basically makes an interpretation of that information, but then something needs to happen. You need to brake, or you need to go left, or you need to go right, and that is what an actuator does. So in the world of the autonomous, connected, electrified, shared vehicles, the number of actuators present is at least twice as high value-wise than what you see in a traditional combustion engine. So as the automotive world is moving into cars that are much more capable and much more electrified and much more hybrid, the content for Kendrion doubles per car, which means that even if you say, look, the number of cars produced is going to stay the same, the market available to us will double. And we've been investing in this for years, and we continue to do so despite COVID. And that means that if you look at these trends, and if you look for actuators that are relevant to these new cars, the opportunity is enormous. Now, let me finish this point by giving a few examples. For instance, we are working on actuators that facilitate battery cooling to extend the range of electrified vehicles. We are working on actuators that help with sensor cleaning. You can imagine that the sensors in modern cars can get dirty. They need to be cleaned. That is an actuation problem. And we have a very capable, smart sensor block that can help the car clean all its different sensors on an as-need basis. So there are many more examples, but let me leave it at that. The ACES, really a big trend for Kendrion and a massive opportunity.
Now switching to your other division, which trends have an impact on future growth of Kendrion's industrial division?
Yes, in industrial, as I mentioned earlier on, in industrial, we see big growth opportunities, not predominantly, but in industrial brakes. Industrial brakes is around 25% of the group's revenue. We've done an acquisition there about a year ago. We've bought Intorq and integrated that within 3 months with our own brake business. We have a full range of industrial brakes. So to clarify, these are brakes for industrial applications. So not brakes, for instance, for automotive vehicles. So brakes that particularly get integrated in an electromotor. There is a few segments there with extreme opportunities. The first to mention is robotics, and then we talk one about industrial robots, so the large robots that, for instance, assemble cars and typically are present in cages, but also much smaller ones that are called so-called collaborative robots that are growing like wildfire. And these are smaller robots with payloads of, say, 20 kilos that cooperate with human beings. Now, these brakes need to be equipped with quite a few, these robots need to be equipped with quite a few brakes, because you need to be able to accelerate them, but also to stop them. And that is a market that is slated to grow. And we have a full range of brakes, both permanent magnet and spring applied brakes, to cater to that opportunity. The second market to note there is wind power. I don't need to explain that. Also, these big windmills have quite a few brakes, basically helping the windmill to turn or helping the blades to change the pitch. That is a fantastic opportunity. Wind power, green energy, it's obvious that is growing fast and is expected to continue to grow fast. And the final market to note there for industrial brakes is logistics. And also there we are part of getting in front of a big mega trend around these automated warehouses that are being used to fulfill the ever-growing amount of orders placed on the internet. So think about Google, Amazon, all these big companies that are building automated warehouses. So you talk about cranes, hoists, automated moving vehicles, forklift trucks. So again, there a very target-rich environment that we feel with the products that we bring to market, we have a significant opportunity to grow.
That's very clear. My last question is about financial targets for 2025, which were set in September at your Capital Markets Day. Can you please give some details about these?
Yeah, for sure. So as you rightfully pointed out, September the 10th, we've done a Capital Markets Day. Of course, all the proceedings, the slides, and the remarks that were made are online available on our website for those of you who are interested. And there, what we did is we translated all the opportunities that I just talked about in what we feel is quite exciting long-term financial targets. And actually, Jeroen, so I was just been introducing what we did at the Capital Markets Day and translating this in long-term financial targets. Why don't you speak a bit to those targets?
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, recently we communicated our 4 new ambitious financial targets for the midterm. First, we strive to reach at least 5% annual organic growth until 2025, based on the revenue we actually realized in 2019. So pre-COVID. The drivers of this growth will be the increased content per car we see in automotive, above average market growth in industrial brakes, a continuation of the growth in China, but then on an increased revenue base, and some selective niche markets in industrial actuators and controls. Secondly, we aspire to reach at least 15% EBITDA margin by the year 2025, driven by the operational leverage from the growth, while also maintaining a lean organization. Third, we want to reach at least 25% return on invested capital, while excluding goodwill and other intangibles arising from acquisitions from the invested capital base, in order to ensure that this target is also sustainable in case of any further M&A in the coming years. And fourth, unchanged, we strive to distribute between 35% and 50% of our normalized net profit per year.
Thank you very much to you both.
It's a complete pleasure, Johan. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.